I don't know if you've heard the controversy recently over mammograms. The U.S. Preventative Services Task Force no longer advises screening mammograms for women between 40 and 50 years of age. And after 50, it's to be done every 2 years instead of annually. Now, groups like gynecologists, hospitals, pink ribbon charities, surgeons, drug companies, and radiologists are up in arms because their livelihood is threatened by this trend. But what's the evidence? Who is right? The Cochrane Review, that's an organization that compiles the evidence for healthcare treatments. They pooled all the clinical trials of mammography. When all the studies were combined, there was nearly 500,000 women studied in total. Now, in these randomized trials, that's where one woman gets randomly selected to have screening mammograms, and then there'll be another woman who doesn't, as the control. Now, between these two groups, there was no difference in mortality. Yes, you heard that right. Not one single life was saved with mammography. Now, this should shock the fecal material right out of you. Doesn't your doctor make sure you have your yearly mammogram? Now, I do have friends that have had their breasts removed and supposedly they've had their life saved because they had a screening mammogram. And I do realize that there's some women that may live longer because of having a mammogram. And mammograms are big. There are women's imaging centers that do mammograms as their primary service, and they're located in every city in this country. There's multitudes of radiologists that specialize in reading mammograms. The pink ribbon nonprofits and their corporate sponsors spend most of the collected donations to get more women screened. And you guessed it right, with mammograms. Now let me tell you how they can justify doing a screening test on you that ultimately has no value and how they can still sleep at night. Well, in these trials, the screened group does have a 15% reduction in breast cancer mortality. So that's what they hang their hat on. For every 2,000 women that are screened, one will have her life saved from breast cancer by having a mammogram. Now, maybe the 1,999 women that were not benefited from screening might tolerate having their breasts squeezed and irradiated to save that one life. But, and this is a big but, because overall mortality is unchanged, it appears that for each woman saved by a mammogram, there's also one killed. How are they killed? From unnecessary surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, and worry. There's also a significant dose of radiation from a mammogram itself, possibly enough to cause cancer in some people. So despite the lack of benefit, those that get mammograms are 20% more likely to have a mastectomy and 30% more likely to have surgery. So why does the Preventive Services Task Force recommend mammograms at all? Think of the power of the disease industry and the millions whose livelihoods depend on the mammography gravy train to keep on rolling. Massive companies like General Electric that make the mammogram machines, and DuPont that makes the film for the mammogram machines, and the drug companies that make the cancer treatments. They all depend on mammography screening. So what should you do? The mammo promoters use fear to persuade you. They want you to think, I might be that one person in 2,000 that's saved by a mammogram. That's what they're banking on, fear. Well, you can follow the other sheep over the cliff if you want. Or you can do your part to push the health paradigm away from the disease economy. I know it's far-fetched to consider, but there could be a gradual replacing of this mammoth, useless screening process to one that promotes health. We could put our energies instead into detoxifying our environment, producing healthy organic food, and getting people moving. We know the biggest cause of cancer is environmental, and mammograms don't change that. In fact, they may add to it. The evidence suggests that they are a complete failure to provide any overall good. This is Dr. G. Thanks so much for watching.